Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shamblot Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on-site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Fall means back to school, and hands down the best vehicle for the family is the Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota. It hauls everything in comfort. Lots of kids? Check. Mountains of sports gear? Check. A band's worth of musical instruments? Check. Multiple science projects and schoolwork? Check. And the Sienna Hybrid gets you fantastic mileage, and it's the safest vehicle I've ever driven, something I will brag about for the rest of my life. The Toyota Sienna is the perfect Minnesota family vehicle. Test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 50, then Tuesday sunshine with a high of 72. Join us for our vice presidential debate watch party Tuesday night, October 1st at the Park Tavern, as Governor Tim Walz meets up with Weird J.D. Vance. Ticket information can be found at am950radio.com. Get yours today. That's Tuesday night, October 1st at the Park Tavern.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. And this portion of the show is supported by NACD's Four Sisters Food Sovereignty Program. Join them this week for Phillips Farms Bike Tour in South Minneapolis on September 28th from noon to 4 p.m. You're going to be learning about locally grown foods and share a meal. Learn more and sign up for this free event at nacd.org/events.
Wow, that's great. Hey, so we got Dr. Stately on later, and we got things to talk about here, Haley. Haley, you were at my my nanny and your Gaga's house, or where was this taking
This
place?
was at my house.
Your house. Oh, so
Yes.
you had to clean up the mess afterwards.
Yeah, bigger kitchen, bigger TV for that Vikings win yesterday. Yeah, we got to learn Gaga Barb's famous fry bread recipe, which is actually Great Grandma Helen's famous fry bread recipe.
Wow, there's some secrets in that recipe.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of like the native amount of ingredients get added. So we were learning, and I was like, "Well, Gaga, how much of this?" And she goes, "Oh, just a little bit of that,
yeah.
or a tablespoon to a teaspoon of this." So it just kind of trial and error, but it turned out really well. It was golden, crispy on the outside, fluffy and pillowy and soft on the inside, perfect brown color. It was good fry bread.
That's awesome. And so we know the Ho Chunks have that really good fry bread, which
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan. I don't eat a lot of it, but I do try it out because I'm a bread hound, period. So,
Same. Love that bread. We usually do we usually do like tacos, taco toppings on top. And that's where I've had most like Indian tacos or fry bread tacos is with all the tacos on top. But I've seen more people do kind of desserts with it, like powdered sugar and
Mhm.
strawberries and blueberries. So I'm gonna have to try that next time. But
Yeah, that's good. Definitely.
yeah.
But
Well, speaking of good food, do you know what's happening this week?
um,
It has to do with
the
the
pickle
Four
off,
Sisters Farmers Market.
the pickle off.
Yeah, good guess.
Oh, I won't be here for the first time. I'll be in New York, which is a bummer.
Okay, so we definitely have to rule you out as a pickle contest judge.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Plus, I'm delicate, and I know a lot of people like them a little spicy, and I like them a little sweeter.
They
So
do
I
have a
don't.
range of pickles that people enter in the contest, but
I just think the word pickles is kind of funny.
pickle? It's like nickel? I don't know.
No, no,
We have pickles
pickles.
at Powwows all the time. The jumbo pickles. At
I
least
just
I
like the
do.
word pickles. Yeah, when is that, and how does that work out?
Yeah, so this is NACD, Native American Community Development Institute, and Indian Health Board. This is their third annual pickle off. So it'll be taking place this Thursday, September. Um, this Thursday, when the date is for that. But from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Four Sisters Farmers Market, which is the Powwow Grounds parking lot in Minneapolis, 1414 East Franklin Avenue. They're going to be, it's kind of focusing around the Four Sisters Food Sovereignty and Preservation Month of foods that are grown locally in gardens. So the pickle off is kind of learning about the act of curing and pickling and drying, freezing and canning different kinds of food. So it's very
Cool.
educational as well as trying some locally grown pickles.
Well, we'll have to bring that up later this week too, because that's really cool. And again, I think the word pickle is a funny word, so I chuckle every time I say it or hear it.
I kind of agree. But yes, this Thursday, September 26th, and the pickle event will start at noon.
Is that what it's called? The pickle off?
Yeah, the pickle off. Pickle themed giveaway, free pickle face paint, pickle tasting, and pickle lemonade.
Oh, that's an interesting combo. Yeah. Hey,
Did they
so
have that
I'm
at the
getting
state fair?
somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere. They had pickle pizza, which was overrated, and there was a line around the block 24/7 for that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, and it was a little teeny booth too. It was crazy, but I don't know. Some people got the word out there during on these TV shows, local TV shows, and there was a line around the block. Try out the new thing at the state fair, and it was pickle pizza, which is
Mm-hmm.
2 funny words.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard that was pretty good too. Well,
Yeah.
how was your weekend? I know you were doing some traveling.
Yeah, I was at, General Council in the Wisconsin Dells. Our tribe is 4th government is the General Council, which is the people that speak. Really, really fun, seeing a lot of relatives, uh, you know, that I haven't seen in a while, and, it was it was good for that, and, things turned out well, and, the 4th government of the nation, was there, and they had enough people. We, made quorum, and, yeah, it's part of being Ho-Chunk is checking out the general council and being there, so it's pretty fun, pretty exciting, and again, it's about the people. There was so many people that, I know and respect and, that we're related to that I got to see, so that was good medicine.
Awesome. Yeah, always is to go see relatives who you normally don't get to see because,
Right.
distance and everything like that.
Yeah, part of it was good medicine. So wait a minute now. I saw that you saw a buffalo or a bison, or which was it? A bison or a buffalo?
Well, we could use those words, buffalo or bison, or if we want to get technical and speak some Ho-Chunk, we could say Chef G. Or
Ooh.
since we're on Dakota land here in Minnesota, we could say Tatanka.
Right on there, Haley.
Thank
That
you.
was
Teeny
right.
Gigi.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love going to see him. I live kind of east metro of St. Paul, so I'm a bit closer to Afton. It's the Bellwyn Conservancy place out there in Afton. Pretty sure that's what it's called, Bellwyn. But yeah, they have a herd of buffaloes out in the field there in the Savannah Conservancy part. And sometimes they're not always visible. I know that they do have a lookout tower for viewing, but it's a pretty big space. So they're not always visible, but I like to go out there and put some tawny down, some tobacco. And yeah, I did that on Friday morning, even though I couldn't see them. And then after I put tobacco down, I drove back out on the main road, and there they were, just laying in the grass right next to the main road.
That's hilarious. You took me a year ago on a bison hunt, and we didn't see any. And you know the funny thing about Ho-Chunk language too is Donnie is not only for tobacco, but it's also the number 4, which blows my mind. In the Ho-Chunk
4.
nation, yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason for why it's used for the number 4 and also tobacco, like kind of like the 4 sacred directions or something.
I don't know. That's something that you need to ask your Gaga next time you see her. Quiz
I
her
will.
on it.
I will for sure. Well, also it was the fall equinox. So we're moving into a different season here and time to slow down and reflect and prepare for winter.
Yeah, the squirrels are, and they have. I think the chipmunks are now building a nest into my dryer in the basement. So there's a lot of full peanuts in my dryer, and possibly need to get a new one because the motor doesn't seem to be working. But that's what you do when you feed our relatives. They hide their food in the darnest places.
Yep, they love you so much they just want to come in and live with you at that point.
Rent free.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next we have our friend Dr. Stately, and we're excited to talk to him. And we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is often laced into illicit drugs and used to make fake versions of prescription pills. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. Suppliers mix fentanyl into their products because it's potent and cheap, and the dealer might not even know. Keep yourself and others safe by knowing the real deal on fentanyl. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, yes, they do, and I love that tagline. Hey, we are here with our friend Dr. Stately, and Dr. Stately, great to see you. And it's been always seems like it's been a while, and but it's always great to see you. Welcome, as always, to Native Roots Radio.
Voodoo. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Right on. Hey, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about a little bit is I just had my general counsel Saturday, and I got my flu shot and my COVID shot. And I felt like I was a little tired after that for a couple days. There's do you have and a little no, I'm just kidding. I also had my hearing checked too, so I'm going deaf. So just those things that an old person, older, junior elder like me are going through.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't explain the hearing loss.
What?
I don't think the flu or COVID shot gave you hearing loss, but
No.
could be all those years of like listening to your 8-track tape players really loud in your car while you were like speeding around.
Well, they did ask me if I was a truck driver because my left ear is worse than my right ear, and I'm going.
Oh.
I mean, like maybe before I had air conditioning back in the day, I stuck my head out the window when it was hot.
Oh, maybe. Or you rolled down the window and so like all the the
Icicles and moisture grew something in my ear.
possibly, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you got like vermin in there and they built a nest.
Well, I was definitely happy that they didn't have to do any drilling, that I had been cleaning my ears properly all these years. So things were good in that way. But then again, if I'm not hearing that well, then it's not that good, and I don't have an excuse. Like, what is that, wax buildup?
Yeah, I mean, like for a lot of people, especially like, I mean, as you age, typically you're going to end up losing some of your hearing capacity anyway. Like it's just, I think it's generally a aging concern. I remember one time learning this, I read this study. So here you are. What are you, 61? 62?
3.
63? Oh, okay, cool. God, I'm hot on your heels here.
Yeah,
And
and
my ears
surprising.
are fine, by the way, just so you know. So I don't know, it's explanatory, but here's the thing that's interesting is, did you know that there was a study that was done a few years ago? They found that women lose their ability to hear sort of lower tone sort of frequencies later in life, and men lose their capacity to hear higher tone frequencies later in life. So
Weird.
this is my theory, that this is the secret to a good long marriage, is that you can't actually hear each other. You can't hear them screech at you and complain. They can't hear you complain. So,
Well, I always said that Wendy kind of mumbled to me, and now I know she doesn't. So I hope she's not listening tonight. But yeah,
it's okay. She can't hear the sound of your voice anyway because you're how lower tone.
that lower. Yeah, I'm not the one mumbling.
But I mean, in all seriousness, we do lose a little bit of our our hearing function later in life. But like, you should be getting your hearing checked frequently throughout your life, and especially so some things I think that younger people are challenged with all of the time. I know it certainly is true for me. I have a little bit of tinnitus in my ear, so it's that ringing in your ear that just kind of happens randomly out of nowhere. It's not huge. Mine
You're breaking up a little.
Yeah. Sorry. Are you having a hard time?
You were breaking up a little bit.
Are you having a hard time hearing?
Yeah.
Yes.
How ironic. This is like the story of my life.
Ironic, yes. In the words of Alanis Morissette.
Right.
Who I love, by the way. Last time I saw her live was at the Mystic Lake Theater.
Oh, I just saw her. She was here in July.
Yeah, she was amazing. But anyway, so what's really common, I think, and this is an important thing for your listeners to know, if they can hear. Just kidding.
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear now, which is totally bizarre.
That tinnitus is common, like can be a health concern that shows up fairly earlier in life than it would normally later in life, from like listening to your music really loud. So like, you know how like kids these days, they have those big things on their heads and they're rocking like, you know, their rap music or their like country music, for those of us who love country music. That's what I do. I play my country music really loud. And damages your ears to have the decibels that high. Nowadays, some of your technology has like the capacity for you to set settings at safety. I did that to my son's phone so they can't damage their ears. I set their decibel level at low or mid. But you know, now we know that these things cause damage. You're seeing younger people in their like 20s and 30s having tinnitus, and it's from like you know, in your case, like you know, all those raves you went to when you were younger and like listening to like pounding music.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were fun though. Well, I taught in all seriousness, I taught drumline in my high school for about 11 years. And, the first 5 years I didn't wear earplugs because I was cool. But after that, I started wearing them just because I was getting old. But that's
and other people that get injuries, hearing injuries, are like you know, like if you're like what is it, the jackhammer guys, construction workers, and those kinds of folks.
Yeah,
they also end up with tooth damage from their teeth chattering.
Really? Is that true?
No, I'm joking. That's not true.
I would have believed that.
That actually only happened on the Flintstones.
Sounds like Friends episode.
Nobody even on your half of the people listening to this podcast don't even know who the Flintstones are.
Or Friends, for that matter.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
We're really dating ourselves
we
here.
should do a show of how does it feel getting old? Because I'm the one that
I don't know. You can tell me you're older than me, so like please inform me.
Well, I was turning up the TV and I thought I better get my hearing changed or checked.
Both things actually apply.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I asked about the radio show too because I wear headphones, but I can turn it down and whatnot. And she seemed to say that didn't really affect it, just an hour a day, and so I'm okay with that. But I do listen to my
when you're walking. Like I know you
Yeah.
walk a little bit, so are you listening to AirPods with your
earbuds.
Yeah, earbuds.
Yeah, I turn it up and turn it down, and I try
Yeah.
to be mindful that I don't hear any ringing. But then again, I'm losing my hearing, so how could I hear ringing if I don't have hearing?
Good
I
question.
just cracked myself up.
I thought like ringing in your ears meant spirits were trying to talk to you.
I think that's a good explanation for it.
Yeah. I thought that was when your ears were burning. Someone was talking about it,
Yeah.
or your nose was itching.
I always thought that's what I always heard too. Like, oh, my ears are ringing, and then somebody's talking about you, and and then you ask, and they're like, oh, well, actually, yes, I was just talking about you. Oh, that's not. Yes. So that's, I think, what is that called? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we manifest our thing.
But how did you feel after you did your COVID shot?
No, I felt good, but when I was driving home, because I got it Saturday morning, and then I was driving home I got home around 10:30, so I was driving for 3 hours from the Dells. I started getting the chills, and I thought the house was cold, and then I turned my fan off and went to sleep. But yesterday was the second day, and it was funny because Wendy's in New York right now, and I woke up at 6 a.m. with my glasses on and my hands on my phone, and this TikTok was playing over and over and over again. So I must have been sleeping for 8 hours.
Listening to the same TikTok over and over.
Yeah. At 3.
Dare I ask what the TikTok topic was?
I don't even remember. It's probably a Trump thing or something.
Yeah, like I'm addicted to like a couple of TikToks. Like I watch the comedian Matt Rife over and over and over because he's really funny, in a lot of inappropriate ways. He's really funny. So like I would say like don't let your kids listen to them and listen to him. But he's pretty funny, and yeah, I like him a lot. And then I have other ones I watch.
Our friend Jace is really shook.
Auntie Jace. Yeah.
Yeah, he really shook because of one of big fan of Janet Jackson, and
Yeah.
really let us down.
I commented on his Facebook post today, or some post he mentioned about that Janet was, somebody said in his post, she's sounding a little like a rumpian.
I know. And then
I was like,
he was
is
selling
that
all
a-
his Janet Jackson stuff, and I was like, oh,
yeah, like I wouldn't even sell them. I just throw them out the window. Well, I mean, I have CDs, so like, they could go sailing, but nobody has CDs anymore either.
Well, for some reason,
I think
a few years ago there was a picture of those two. I don't know if you had a meet and greet, if you paid for that.
Yeah. No, I guess I know that they've had like like a little yeah, she invited him to a concert. They met somehow, but I happen to like her a lot as a performer, but I don't necessarily think every performer that I like necessarily has the same politics as me. But I found it shocking and surprising that she would say the things that she said about Kamala.
Absolutely. Hey, we'll be right back. We're with Dr. Stately, Native American Community Clinic here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. We'll be right back. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. If you need new windows for your home or business, I highly recommend 952 Windows. They offer windows and doors with the longest warranties and Energy Star's #1 most efficient ratings. I can personally vouch for them, having known the owner for decades. They did a fantastic job on our second floor addition 20 years ago, installing windows, roofing, siding, and even adding a master bedroom and bathroom. 952 Windows is part of Loyal Home, founded by some of the Ethics award-winning former Window Light employees. In my opinion, they're one of the most best-kept secrets in remodeling. As Onyx Bath and Rosebud cabinet dealers, 952 Windows guarantees top-quality products. Most of their business comes from referrals, so much so that they have been called the best-kept secret in remodeling by their competitors. For unbeatable deals and trusted service on windows, doors, roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more, call 952 Windows or visit 952windows.com.
My name's Michaela. I joined the Army at 17. When I got back from Iraq a few years ago, I became pregnant and ended up homeless.
No veteran should ever face homelessness. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is working hard to end veteran homelessness by the end of 2015. VA offers programs to help eligible veterans stay healthy, find a job, and secure or maintain safe, stable housing. With a simple call to 877-424-3838, specialists can connect veterans to the services and support they have earned, regardless of their branch or era of service.
My life works now. I got help from VA, and now I'm on a mission to share these resources.
VA is here to help. If you or a veteran you know is homeless or at immediate risk of becoming homeless, call 877-424-3838 or chat online at va.gov/homeless.
Catch our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party on Tuesday, October 1st at the Park Tavern. Doors open at 6 p.m. with a live broadcast from 7 until 8 p.m. featuring Matt McNeil and other AM 950 personalities. See our own Governor Tim Walz showcase Minnesota's progress and take on J.D. Vance and all his MAGA lies. Enjoy the debate, light appetizers, and a cash bar. Tickets are $25 in advance at am950radio.com or $30 at the door. So get up off the couch and join us to see Walz versus Vance October 1st at the Park Tavern. Again, tickets are at am950radio.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 50, then Tuesday sunshine with a high of 72. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Hi, this is Governor Walz. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Met Council. They're asking for your help to shape the future of the Twin Cities. Join in this Wednesday at 5 p.m. for Imagine 2050, a regional planning event focused on improving housing, transportation, parks, and water resources. Share your ideas and help create a better Twin Cities. Visit engage.metrocouncil.org to learn more.
Well, the Met Council, I'm on the advisory board, the Native American Advisory Board, and I'm totally blown away by all the things that they do in the cities. We talked about that last time, Haley. It's just amazing what they got, what they oversee. From sewage going into the river to parks and names of parks and all these things, and of course light rail. That's always in the news, but amazing. Very amazing. And I just want to say to Santina, she said, sorry, I'm late. She was watching Echo. That's a good reason to be late, Santina. And we always appreciate you commenting and listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, we're here with our friend, Dr. Stately, and I was talking my woes over to Dr. Stately, but of course I couldn't hear half of them because I'm going deaf. But, that was sad. We talked a little bit about Jace and the situation. I feel there's people out there predicting that this is going to be a landslide, and we need it to be a landslide. And then we're going to have new bumpers from the governor and the new governor here on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, I think that it feels to me like every other week, the pundits, as you like to call them, or the people who sort of kind of deliver this information to us, and they have robust jobs that discussing the nature of politics. I think one of the things I always tell people, because I think about young people. I think like when I was newly 18, and I can't remember who was running back then, 79. It would have been
Reagan and
I think like one of the things I remember thinking is like, Carter's the incumbent, and the incumbents always win. They have they're like, and there was an upset, and Reagan. And I remember like being 18 years old and thinking like, I don't have to vote. This isn't all that important, those kinds of things. And feeling assured that Carter was going to win again, and then Reagan won, and from the time I was 18 or 19 years old to the time I was 24, or I think Reagan was in office for 2 terms, right?
8 years.
Yeah, yep. 8 years. It was the worst fucking 8 years of my life. Sorry, pardon my French.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We caught that.
Get that button. But I turned 18 in 82, or no, in 80. I turned, so the first year of his presidency, all the way through 1988, when he finally was, lost the grip on his reins. During that period of time, I lived in Los Angeles, and I landed there in the middle of the HIV epidemic. My friends were dropping like flies, dying of AIDS within weeks of getting diagnosed of those things. I, of course, also was at great risk for that. but also like it was just like, you know, him and Margaret Thatcher, they were like pretty much cut from the same cloth. And they were like, you know, they called her the Iron Queen and a few other. And I think the thing is that like he went a good 8 years without ever uttering the word AIDS in his entire right. Meanwhile,
I was going to say,
yeah, like, and you know, it finally became a thing that you could talk about after, like, you know, a young boy who was white and who was heterosexual and a child got AIDS, and all of a sudden it became something to talk about. But
or Rock Hudson was,
or hundreds of thousands of people had to die first. It's like, that's crazy making. So like, I think about that as I was a young person. Had I known, had I thought, like, so this is, I think the thing that's important here is to, like, I've been trying to tell all the young people I know, like, did you register to vote? Are you going to vote? Like, get out and vote, because it's really critical that you be part of the decision making here, because a president, the wrong person in office, could completely reshape your life and the lives of the people that you love and you care about. And if you stand on the sideline, you really don't have, I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of legs to stand on to complain about the outcome.
You know, this show started because of Standing Rock and all the misinformation. And the second day Trump was elected, he wrote a presidential whatever and started drilling again in Standing Rock. It's the second day.
Yeah.
Us natives.
I remember sitting in my hotel room in Standing Rock, like I think the 2 weeks before the election, like it would have been mid-October. I wasn't yet hired as I think I was hired as the executive officer of NAC, but I hadn't started yet. I started in December. And I was fairly confident when I was sitting in that hotel room watching the debate, thinking like, she's handing him his A, you know, and she's like, and I'm being really confident and, you know, those kinds of things. And I'm like, a lot of other people probably like, oh, this is, you know, and she won the popular vote, but like, you know, she lost with the electorate. And I think the thing is that people sometimes get too confident and they think, oh, this is going to happen for sure. Those kinds of things. And so they don't show up, or they don't follow through on their civic duties, or they just kind of assume somebody else is going to take care of it, you know? And I don't make a tremendous amount of money, but I've been given, you know, the Democrats and also, you know, the party who I belong to, and also the presidential run, I've been giving them about, you know, a good $25 or $50 a week for the last several weeks as a sustained supporter, because I want them to do well. And I plan to take the day off of election day so I can make sure I get there, because I get to the office and I think, oh, I'll go when I get off, and I'm exhausted. All the reasons why we don't do the thing we do. And you can do all kinds of things now, like early voting. Those are all really important things to do. But I think one of the things I remember sitting in that thing and feeling very confident that she was going to win, and we're going to prevail with Standing Rock and all those other things. And like fairly rapidly, in rapid succession, things unraveled, right? And also, it was my first year as the executive officer of NAC, a federally qualified healthcare center. And I remember him like kicking the community health center FQHC funding mechanism down the road, doing a continuing resolution, and like threatening not to sign the bill, not invest in community health, all those things for like the first 6 months of my tenure at NAC. And like we were facing a fiscal cliff, and that federal award, funded like a good third of our organization. And I was like, we're like a three-legged stool here. Like he's going to rip one of our legs out and we won't be able to operate anymore. So I was like, it was like, he was the bane of my existence in 2017 for a good, 4 years after that. So.
Well, there's reports too, and I think our friend Heather Keeler mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that Hillary was as far ahead as Harris is right now. And what she was saying is that we need, like you said, we don't have to, I don't have to vote. Wendy and I are voting early, and we're going to definitely try and help people get out to the polls after that.
We
And
cannot be overly confident. We cannot rest on our laurels, right? This is like, there's too much to lose in this particular election, right? I mean, the man has already told us, like, foreshadowed all the things that he intends to do. He's going to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after all of the people who, didn't support him earlier, like all of his enemies, quote unquote. He's gonna try to do a national ban on abortion and also birth control, like not making birth, like what, right? It's just like insane the things that he's planning to do, and like you can't get on the website, the 2025 website anymore, and get that information, or 2025 plan. But there's some earlier some people have copied those things and posted it on Facebook. He has a plan for America for 2025, and it is looking good for anybody who's not white and anybody who isn't white, and specifically white men.
Right.
Specifically white men who happen to be billionaires. So if you fall into any other category other than that, right?
Look out.
You're not going to end up doing well post-election.
Exactly. So I think we've learned, in that we keep talking about it here and talking about it to our relatives. He's going to have the same 55 million people voting for him. And we're in broadcast all over Wisconsin too, Dr. Stately. And one of the things that's always brought up there too is it's 20,000 votes in all the district. That means 3 people in each district need to vote a certain way to change the whole election here in the country. So your vote does matter.
Yeah, your vote does matter. I mean, I remember growing up as a young person and hearing like my relatives say things like, "Oh, I'm not going to vote. My vote doesn't matter." And then I was like, I had that experience I talked about early in my early young adult. And I was like, well, after that, I started voting regularly and consistently. I vote in every single election, whether it's a presidential election or not, because like, I think the other thing that people don't think about, and here's the thing that's really, really important, is that people have to remember, like, the president is one branch of the government. And you got Congress and the Senate, right? You got Congress, and then you got legislative. And like the guy that ends up in that office, or the person that ends in that office, over the next 4 years gets to decide who's going to be on the Supreme Court. So like deciding big cases, we've seen the evidence that they are sort of leaning towards very, very highly conservative, and like, they protect that guy. Like, and then the Senate, they pass laws. They decide who's going to go up for, who's going to get forward. Remember when the Senate was locked a couple of years ago, and we tried to advance people. Obama tried to advance people onto the federal bench, and they blocked every single one of the nominations. It's like people have to remember, like, the president is important, but so are all these other downstream things. So you got to vote in every single election. If you want to do your civic duty and you want to be engaged and you want to have some say in how your life meets out as a citizen, you got to show up, and you got to bring yourself, and you got to bring your vote, and you also have to bring your opinion. And don't be afraid to talk to your relatives, and don't be afraid to talk to your neighbors about it. The worst thing that they can do, I suppose, is yell back at you or argue with you, possibly punch you. But then there's
keep your distance. Oh, hey, we're here with Dr. Stately. I think the next segment we're going to talk about social studies being taught from a very young age, because we need to engage and educate our young people. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Calling all bargain hunters, Angela Warner from Warner Stallion with a sale you're not going to want to miss. The Real Deal clearance sale starts this weekend. We're talking hundreds of appliances marked down to cost or even below cost. Floor model French door fridges, overstock laundry pairs, you name it, we've got it. And the prices are unbeatable. This is your chance to score big on the brands you love and even the luxury brands that never go on sale. But hurry, these deals won't last forever. Real Deal clearance sale starts this weekend only at Warner Stallion stores.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
That sounds more like an owl than a wolf.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I can't look at an owl. I don't know what that means. That's a different show. A whole episode. So we're here with Dr. Stately. Yeah, forgot what I was doing there for a second. We're here with Dr. Stately, and we're talking about a lot of different things as we usually do. It's great to catch up with Dr. Stately, a Native American community clinic CEO, and we talk about a lot of great things here. And one of the things I mentioned when we were going off air is I'd really like to see, and I've talked to some politicians locally about really, learning civics at a young age and not be afraid of that. I'm at that age, 63, where I can talk to the governor, the soon-to-be vice president, and the soon-to-be governor, lieutenant governor, as people. Just go up and BS with them. But when I was in my 20s, I put these people up on a big pedestal and was afraid of them, and had preset notions. But they're people too, and anybody can get involved. And I really liked your talk too, Dr. Stately, about all these elections are important for a lot of different reasons. I mean, we didn't care who the lieutenant governor was. We'd have a different governor coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think the other thing I want to kind of just say to your listenership, it's like readership. I like to say your readership, but nobody's reading anything.
That's okay. Just don't swear. That's all right.
I know. God, I'm gonna get the FCC after me.
They bleeped it out.
There's a rap song about that in there. Yeah, there's a rap song about that. But I was just, I think it's important that we understand that, like, 4 years ago, and actually she's like 6 years ago now, because she's they were reelected 2 years ago, correct? Yeah.
Right.
So 4 years ago, when we first elected the lieutenant governor, and I want to remind people, Native people showed up en masse, and we swung the vote that year in so many ways. We elected the most Native people to state offices, not just the lieutenant governor, but also senators and representatives than we have done in history, right? And so I think part of it is important to understand, the significance of showing up and voting, because it's I think it's kind of like the thing that my family I grew up listening to older Native people, the really old ones, like, well, the great white father doesn't listen to us. That kind of thing. He probably had poor hearing. And
Drumline.
yes, exactly. And so the narrative there being like, well, it's not important to do, it doesn't matter, it falls on deaf ears. But the reality of it is that when you utilize and you fully engage as a civilian, and you engage in things, you show up for conversations at like the locals, county and federal level, you go to these things, there's listening sessions. When your representative hosts a community listening session and says, come have coffee with me or donuts or whatever, and tell me what you like, those things are really important. Look at the impact that it had on, those 4 people that went and talked to JD Vance and told him about the people eating dogs, right? He said he had on some interview I heard recently, it was like, well, the 4 or 5 people that showed up and told me this was happening, I do my job. I think I listen to them and then I bring it up.
Yeah, he also said he has to make stuff up to get people to listen.
Yes.
And, but it's also misinformation.
Governance. Yeah.
Well, it stops people talking from Project 2025 too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. I mean, I won't lie and say that I did enjoy looking at all the memes and all the GIFs that came out after that. Auntie Jace posted a really cute thing on TikTok about her cat.
Yeah. I've seen dogs that the voiceover for that, and the dog's looking, they're talking about something else, and the dog's looking freaked out and neck snapping towards the owner, going, "What?" Cat's running away.
But I mean, like in all seriousness, like it is important to show up in those spaces, and
Well,
I probably do, actually, if I'm being completely honest, I probably do a much better job of that now, and the role that I have and the responsibility I have as a community leader, the responsibility I have for the organization that I run, right? It's like over the last 8 years, I'll be at NAC almost 8 years here in December.
Wow.
Have a much more profound understanding from being in the role that I am and seeing the impact of significant decade over decade over decade of disinvestment in my community, the impact that it has on health. I understand the relationship between elections and voting and health. It's really, really crystal clear to me. So if I want to advance and move and protect the health and well-being of my community, I have to show up and vote. If I care about my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, I have to show up and vote today. I have to do it today. Not in 4 years, not in 6, not in 8. I got to do it today because so much depends on it.
Amen to that. Yeah. And we'll be speaking about that on Native Roots Radio forever, because it's really, really important, and education's important to know. It's the new fight right now is our educated,
right?
It's
like Wilma Mankiller said, like she was famous for saying something of akin like the fight for sovereignty is no longer going to be fought on horseback. It's going to be fought in the classrooms across Indian country. So teach your children, teach your grandchildren about why it's important to vote, why it's important to engage in civic responsibility and in action. Why is it important to protest? Why is it important to speak up? Why is it important to do all of those things? Really, really critically important, right? And then I think the last thing I would just want to say here is I am throwing all my loose change and everything I have at Kamala, except for the 4 quarters I gave this homeless lady that was standing on the corner the other day, because I want her to win, because I want people to be protected and have our rights. I I don't want to go back to what it was like, 8 years ago. I just don't want to do that. And the other thing is I want Biden to, pardon and give clemency to Leonard Peltier.
Yeah.
And I want him to do it before Kamala gets in because, she's a prosecutor. Who knows what she's going to do? But I think she would support it. But there's no chance of that happening if Trump wins, period.
And there's no chance of moving our Democrats more progressive and pushing them more and having them listen. It's black and white decision here. Hey, Dr. Stately, can you hold on after the show here? I got to talk to you for a second. And I want to say one thing. If you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance from Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to vote, vote, vote. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.